Hello, stampers and friends. Today I'm going to be showing you how I made these trees using the Frosted Forest stamps and the Frosted Forest decorative masks, which are stencils. So easy to do and they look so beautiful. So let's get started. I just want to, I'm not going to make the whole card, so just to show you, I did directly onto the white cardstock with the trees for this tree and this tree. And then these two I did and then cut out with the dies that come with the Frosted Forest dies. And then I used blending brushes to put some balmy blue in the background and some granny apple green in the foreground to do the background. But today I'm just going to focus on how I made the trees because I want you to see these masks in action. So when you order the masks, you get 6. You get 3 that will make the trees that I'm going to be making today. And you also get 3 that make a tall tree like this. So I'm not going to be showing those today, but you do get those when you order them. So the first thing I need to get are, I'm going to do the large tree. So there's a large tree and a small tree. I'm just going to do the large one. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and stamp that tree onto some white cardstock, just some basic white. I'm going to be using an E block. It's a rather large stamp. And I'm going to do that in early espresso, so a nice dark brown, because this is the basis of the tree. Ink that up. That fits just perfectly there. I'm going to go ahead and give that a stamp. I didn't put down the foam mat, but it really does a nice job, especially on the glass mat. It just seems to do really, really well when you stamp even without the glass mat with your photopolymer stamps. So the next thing I need to do is I'm going to tape down just a piece of copy paper for the background because I'm going to be, spreading around the ink. And while it would be fine to go on the glass mat, it's just easier to do it on this sheet of copy paper. So I'm just going to use some washi tape. And here's a little tip. When you tape this down, do a little tab on the end. So then when you're ready to pull it up, you have a little tab. So I like to do that. Easy to take off. Just fold over a little bit. So I'll be able to get that up. And then I'm just going to put one at the bottom. Hold it steady. Now I'm going to take my piece of white cardstock that I stamped the tree, and I'm going to tape that down. I'm going to do that the same way. This we need to keep still because we're going to be layering the ink on, so we don't want it to move because we're going to have a reference point to go by. I'll show you that in just a moment. Still dealing with my broken knuckles there, so bear with me. Okay, so I'm going to take, these are lettered A, B, C. By the way, the others are numbered 1, 2, 3, so you don't get mixed up. A, B, C. So this is A. And this is C, and this is B. So I'm going to start with A, and just going to lay this right over. You can see the tip of the brown is right there, and you kind of get look at the bottom branches, and that looks just about right. Now you can tape this down if you feel more comfortable. I'm not going to, and I didn't when I made my trees. If it moves a tiny bit, it's not the biggest deal. This is Granny Apple Green, so it's a lighter green. And I'm going to put this is a small blending brush. And the first thing I'm going to do, so I don't forget, is to mark the notch, because this is how we're going to line up the other 3. So I'm going to go ahead and ink that right there. Now, just going to, whoops, not quite as steady with my hand wrapped. Okay, let's try that again. I'm going to go ahead and layer on the Granny Apple Green. Dark or light as you want. I found that I like it darker, and you can even put it like a little darker in places, because what tree wouldn't be a little darker in places? You can dab, you can rub. Okay, there's our first layer. Next, I'm going to take my bee, and I'm going to go a little bit darker. And for that, I'm going to use Old Olive. You can see this is the Granny Apple Green, this is the Old Olive. It's a little darker, but not the darkest thing I have. Okay, so this is the bee. So the notch that I made here, I'm going to line up the notch on the bee stencil, and then I'm just going to shift it a little to make sure it lines up just right. And I'm going to do that in Old Olive. This is another blending brush, so I'm using a clean one. And this is a little darker. Done. Now look at that. Doesn't that already look so pretty with that dark contrast? And finally, our C mask. So C is there. It's facing up. I'm going to line that up right there. And I'm going to switch to my darkest green color. And that one is going to be Mossy Meadow. I'm going to get a clean brush and line up my notch and apply the darkest color. I sure hope this isn't focusing on my brace. Okay. And there we go. Look at that pretty tree. It's so pretty. I love it so much. And that's all there is to it. Then you can use the dies to cut it out, or you can just cut it with a rectangle into a rectangle shape to put on your card, or you can do it directly on whatever size you're going to be putting on your card. Or if you have the dies, and this is what the die set looks like, you can cut it right out on your cut and emboss machine. It just cuts it right out. So that's how I did all of the trees. You can experiment with doing them lighter or darker. You can see here, maybe this was a little, and this one came out really dark. I really darkened that one a lot. But I want to show you one more thing, and that is my attempt to make the tree frosted, because after all, that is the name of the set. It's called Frosted Trees. Actually, I'm going to leave that down. So what I did, and this is one that I did, and I hope you can see if I turn it in the light. I don't know if you can see the shimmer. But what I did was I used the Whisper White ink and Wink of Stella glitter brush. And I don't think it's coming through very well on the picture, but hopefully you can see a little bit how it's shimmery. So I'll show you how I did that. So I'm going to take I'm going to take this one that I did yesterday because I found that if you do it right away while the ink is still a little wet, the white like seeps into the paper more, where you really want it to sit on top. So I already cut this one out, so this one might be a little difficult, but we're going to use the C again. I thought that kind of looked like what drooping snow would look like. And I'm just going to give it a little wipe off here. So I don't get a mix of green and white when I'm doing that. So I'm just using a chamois to wipe it off. If you go and hold it under running water, it like takes it off completely in a snap. But that will do just fine. So I'm just gonna lay it on, and I hope I can do this since it's cut out. Just gonna lay it right over, and it's already where the dark green is. And I'm gonna take my Whisper White ink, and I'm gonna squeeze it out right on my glass mat. It's the best way to do it. And then I'm gonna take a blending brush. And what I'm going to do, I'm not going to use the circular rubbing motion. I'm just going to dab it on. Dab, 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 dab. And that's what I did. And then I'm going to lift it up. And now it looks frosted. Looks like snow has fallen. And then you have to let this dry because you can see it's pretty thick in places. So once that dries completely, and it'll take a little bit, a few minutes, or maybe even a little more depending on how thick that white is, you take your Wink of Stella glimmer brush and you just give it a little push. Let me move that. And then you just brush. It's just like using a paintbrush, and it just puts a shimmer. It's not even like glitter. It's called a glitter brush, but it's the finest little shimmer. Comes in all kinds of colors. Stampin' Up sells it in clear, which is the only color that I like. I've tried the other ones, but I really like the clear. And it just adds a layer of shimmer so that when you turn it in the light, it looks really, really pretty. Okay, so that is how to use those decorative masks to make really beautiful trees that you can turn into pretty tags or pretty cards. So thanks for watching, and let me know if you have any comments or questions in the comment section. I love to hear from you. Have a fantastic rest of your day.